Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the JKWD podcast. Hope you're having an awesome day. Kelvin, what's going on?
I wonder if you could say that 3 times fast. That was good. I don't know. Life is good. We got it's upstate New York. We got snow. The crazy thing is here in upstate New York, at least central New York where I am, we don't have the most snow. People south of us who normally don't get that much are getting slammed. I'm not envious of them.
And you're not talking south like Binghamton. You're talking south like Oklahoma,
south, like New
Texas.
York. Yeah. Well, where normally down there. Yeah. And I'm like, they're getting feet.
Yep.
So other than that, life is good. I as you can tell, I have survived another period of time, and I'm still speaking and laughing over crazy stuff and enjoying breathing freely and without encumbrance and walking around on my own power. And I like it.
Excellent. Well, we can't really ask for anything better than that, and glad we have it, right?
Not a whole lot more, yeah, because after that, we're just plain getting greedy now, aren't we?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I will admit, I do enjoy actually living inside a house I own.
Yeah, that's also nice.
That kind of stuff, yeah. So, hey, like, what if and my grandbaby, my grandbaby.
I know your grandbaby.
She's still, yeah. Time keeps doing a warp thing, because, it was like, she was 3 weeks and 4 weeks, and now she's like, 3 months and 4 months, and now it's like, for some reason, 2 weeks it was supposed to be another month, but it wasn't. So time has stabilized, and so now she's going to be 5 months soon.
Wow.
But I have to go back and look to see which date that's supposed to be on, because it's kind of crazy. But they're all doing well. She's growing and growing, and my son and his lady are having a good time, and
good.
I get to be pop.
Nice.
Okay, I'm done.
Nice. As interesting as they grow, we're still working on just having our first here. So baby, not grandbaby.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's good. Man, talk about a time warp.
Got to work fast. Yeah. No. But watching her brain figure stuff out in real time. Mm-hmm. The other night she was she's 2 now and a little a couple of months, and she's getting into that she's getting into sassy world, right? Like she's starting to understand that she can behave independently of what we tell her, or of how we're manipulating her. So, and by manipulating, I mean actually manipulating her. Like, I would like you to be in the car now, so I'm just going to pick you up and put you in the car.
Right.
But she kept standing on her chair at dinner, and we don't like this for a number of reasons. The number one being that we don't want her falling off and knocking her head somewhere.
Yes.
So we told her if she stood on the chair again that we were going to take the chairs away. So we did was she stood up. We took her off the chair, and I leaned all the chairs against the table. Yeah, just on their front legs. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, I know how to move a chair. Mm-hmm. So she went over the first chair, and she started, pulling on it a little bit, and slid down a little further, and slid down, and she saw it, get a big slide, and she backed way up against the cabinets, and she saw it wouldn't do anything, and then she pulled it a little more, and it wound up on the floor. Mm-hmm. Scared the dog, but she's like, I can manipulate these. So with the next chair, she figured out that if she pulled it back from higher up, that it would just sit back upright to normal. And so she went back and she fixed all the other chairs. She's not strong enough to pick the one up off the floor.
Right.
But to watch her figure that out in real time,
Wow.
especially from a place of frustration.
Uh-huh.
Where she was frustrated because I took her off the chair and she didn't have access to the chair anymore. She can climb up them, so I can't just take her off the chair. I had to.
You are in such trouble.
But to watch her figure that out in real time was like, whoa. Yeah, she is definitely engineer architect brain.
Mm. Yeah, you're in.
She was in a speech therapy class, and the therapist always plays with her to get her to say stuff.
Right.
And one of the toys she brought out was this like stackable ice cream set. So everything's magnetic, so you can pop an ice cream scoop on top of the cone. And
right.
The scooper's magnetic, so you can, and then the scoops will stack on top of each other.
Right.
And the therapist was pretend eating the ice cream, and she was having none of the. Marlena was having none of the pretend eating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She was just into stacking the stuff and saying, she could stack up, a cone and 7 scoops or whatever.
You are in such trouble.
Well, I wanted somebody tall enough to change the light bulbs. She's not going to be tall enough to change the light bulbs, but she's going to be tall enough, but she's going to be smart enough to stack things in such a way that she can climb up and change the light bulbs. So,
well, there you go. Well, look at that ingenuity from a young age.
Right. That's right. Well, we're brought to you today by Amazon Books. We talk a lot about books on this podcast. If you go to jkwdpodcast.com/books, that's jkwdpodcast.com/books, there is a list of over 200 books that we have mentioned on this podcast. They all link out, or just about all of them link out to a page where you can buy them at Amazon. If you do that using our link, they'll kick us a few cents per book. It's jkwdpodcast.com/books. We're also brought to you today, speaking of reading, by the first thing I read every day, Vitamin K Daily, philosophical supplements for my attitude health. They can be for your attitude health as well. Go to I almost gave the wrong URL. Go to vitaminkdaily.com.
Yeah.
Go to vitaminkdaily.com. Sign up for 4 weeks free after that, just $24.95 a year. It's vitaminkdaily.com. Get yourself 4 weeks free. Let's do the show. Josh and Kelvin World Domination Podcast, where we talk about better humanhood and teach you how to dominate your world. You ready? Here we go.
Oh, that was fun. It's been a while since we just talked to each other for a podcast,
Well, actually, it's only been a week, but we recorded that one like a month ago, so it feels like it's been a while.
Well, absence makes the heart grow fonder, something like that.
That's right.
But we put those out there, but we've been interviewing a lot of people lately, and it's been some really interesting stuff. So
yeah, we had hoped to talk to Bill LaRue today about making books, but he had a little something come up last minute, so we're hoping maybe not too long we'll have him back to talk about his latest book, A Stranger Killed Katy, but also about the process of making books, because we know that is something we are interested in and something that a lot of y'all are interested in.
Yes, sir. So
instead what we want to talk about is I'm going to go ahead and read this question. Mm-hmm. Adapted a little bit from Ryan Mickler at Order of Man. That's where I got the idea here. What characteristics do the people you admire all have in common? In other words, what are some of the characteristics that you aspire to have? I think about, so 2 of them, for me, off the top of my head, are a general interest in a lot of things, and a sense of humor. I look at some of the people that I appreciate most in history.
Uh-huh.
If I think about Richard Feynman and Ben Franklin and Mark Twain and Albert Einstein, these are all people with a sense of humor. All of them with kind of similar senses of humor, actually. A little bit sarcastic, a little bit trolly. That's a word we use.
I'm glad you elaborated on that just a little bit. Because I'm like, I guess I haven't read deeply enough into either one of those to see the humor side, but
well,
you do bring it out. So,
Ben Franklin used to, he used to write columns in other people's newspapers opposing his viewpoint under pseudonym. So he would write a column in his paper, and then he'd send a letter as somebody else to another paper refuting that column, and then he'd print something under a different name in support of his column, and he would keep sending letters to different newspapers under. I mean, he was. I
could actually see names doing that,
and he well, it's hard to do. That would be very hard to do now, right?
Yeah.
Is we don't communicate the way we used to. Right. But I mean, he used to be several different columnists, sometimes women, sometimes men. Like, he used to print under a bunch of different names. Feynman was told that, yeah, you're a great physicist, but you'll never be an artist. So he taught himself how to paint and got himself a gallery show.
Those guys.
Einstein was. I can't cite any specific jokes from Einstein, but I know that he was often entertaining people, and he used to gather. He used to gather a group of scientists,
right,
of a bunch of different backgrounds. So he was a physicist, but he'd have like a philosopher and a psychiatrist and a medical doctor and an astronomer, and these people would get together in the evenings and just talk for 5-6 hours. Back when we were allowed to gather in bars and do that.
Wow.
They used to learn a lot about a lot and have get ideas and input from people with different viewpoints. And so being very interested in a wide variety of stuff. Talk about Franklin, he did a lot of experimental electricity, right, on top of being a newspaper man and getting into type and all that kind of thing. Feynman, the art, obviously the physics. You famously played bongos in clubs. He was into a lot of different stuff.
Wow.
And those are two of the things that I hope I'm living up to. Kind of learning a lot about. We call that being a polymath.
Is that what it is?
And then having a little bit of a sense of humor.
Well, obviously, I like a sense of humor, even sometimes when it's directed at me. But I like people who help other people feel good. Better about life. I'm a positive mental attitude guy, so I like people who are positive and upbeat and bring a sense of possibility to the world when some days it just seems like some things aren't possible. And also people who help other people realize that they're better than they think they are, as humans, as artists, as whatever. So I guess what's the easy way to say that? They uplift people. That's it. Yeah, that's it. I like people who uplift people. And I like people who speak well, as in great orators, because I aspire to be a renowned public speaker. And I think I do okay, but people who can really capture an audience and make a difference in a positive way, I enjoy those people. And there's some I like to think of. I think I kind of grew up on Les Brown. When I was in high school, Les Brown was like the guy. Maybe Brown's baby boy, charming audiences around the world. People like, of course, the name's gonna go Zig Ziglar, who was a master at speaking and getting people engaged, and simultaneously having them feel good, even when they didn't think they had a reason to. He could get a room full of people feeling excellent, and that's kind of where I patterned a lot of that after. More recently, one of my favorite speakers is a Toastmaster named Craig Valentine, who was one of the world champions of public speaking for, I think, 1999 was he was in. And he's actually the one that got me speaking, because I went to a seminar he was at one day. And when I left there, it was like, oh no, we have to start. And that's actually when I started my public speaking career, as it were, in Toastmasters. So those are them. They make people feel good about themselves and each other and life, and they speak well and can make people smile.
So you knew who I thought about when you were first talking about trying to give you a view into what's possible. Actually, the first name that popped to mind was Walt Disney.
I didn't think of him in that, but Walt Disney was definitely it. I think they even coined a word from him, which was possibilitize. Was that? No, I'm sorry. Imagineering.
Imagineering. Yeah.
Imagineering. That's Walt Disney's word. Absolutely. Imagineering is so very important these days. And I've read some of the stories, about, Disney World coming up and stuff. And that took a lot of Imagineering and persistence.
Yeah.
Vision.
Yeah. Are you aware that the Disney theme parks have a private club called Club 33?
No.
Yeah. And the conspiracy there obviously is that it's Masonic because of 33. But these are high-end clubs with about a $10,000 annual membership.
Oh, how nice.
But they're all very intricately decorated, but they keep with Disney themes, even though they're they're very nice and very adult.
Uh-huh.
Some of the themes are more. The Disneyfication is more subtle,
right,
and more mature. I'll see if I can find a post with a bunch of photos for the show notes.
Didn't know about that at all. Huh. Well, maybe there's something I can aspire to.
Being able to afford a $10,000 a month private club, yeah.
Oh, a month? Well, maybe not.
Oh, maybe it's annual. Yeah, probably. That's probably
either way. Might not. But then, can I really spend that much time around Mickey? That's the question, right?
enough crown apple, maybe.
Ooh, that would bring on a whole different conversation with Mickey, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to is going to Disney with a child, and being able to experience it like as an adult, not necessarily in my full mind.
Right.
I went once as a child when I was 13 or 14.
Mm-hmm.
So I was too old for like Disney princesses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the rides were fun for me. And now who I am as an adult, I'm not particularly interested in the crowds, and I'm not interested in waiting in line for a ride. But I like to come at things with a different perspective when I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's why I love the New York State Fair so much. There's nowhere else.
Well, next time they have one, maybe you can come back and check it out. Maybe I'll go.
I used to love getting. One of the things I used to do is for years I had a press pass, so I could just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have to pay to get in or to park, and our parking spot was always like way at the end of the midway.
Right.
So I would get there at like 7 a.m. Midway doesn't open until noon, so I would get there hours before the midway opened, and I would just walk up and down, watch people set up, and there's nowhere else where you come across like 400 battered baseballs in one box. Or like stacks of hundreds of different colored cowboy hats.
Yeah.
It's not something you walk by anywhere.
Right.
When I watch shows about like food bazaars in India or whatever, like that's what the state fair looks like to me. So I don't want to try all the spices at the state fair.
No,
but
I don't.
But walking around and seeing anomalies, not even oddities, but anomalies, and seeing old timey signs.
Oh yeah.
That the prices have changed, but the styles have not.
Yep. Here I am in the great New York State Fair, but and strangely enough, it took me a while to get there, and I didn't go back often because I didn't want to deal with the crowds, and I really didn't want to walk past that deep fried chocolate covered bacon booth.
Chocolate covered Snickers was always my one thing I had to have every year.
Oh, chocolate covered Snickers, yeah, but I never got over that chocolate covered bacon thing. So
that doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, right. Get like bacon is like bacon, not chocolate. Ew, yuck. But that's okay.
And I'm not one of those.
I'm
not one of those people who needs to deep fry everything either. So
just a few things. Like bacon, and I don't deep fry bacon, but I did enjoy watching the people, watching the crowds, especially little kids, who were really getting jazzed over the lights and the action, and a couple of rides. When I was younger, I went on a couple of rides. And where is it? Where is this out here in Enchanted Forest, whatever that is. Went on a couple of roller coasters there. When I was young, I went on a roller coaster at Coney Island, right, which was the most terrifying thing I'd ever went in, and I pretty much told God I was never going to do that again. And then I found myself at the Enchanted Forest with kids, and somehow I was standing in line again. And, I never got the stones to go up in like their crazy things, but they had this double loop. This double loop, whatever you call those things. And I I haven't been in one since that one. That was just too much. That whole double. Ooh,
No, thank you. I don't need to be upside down.
Call me a wimp. Yeah. I mean, you weren't upside down for long because it was quick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has to be if you're upside down for long. Well, I guess if you're upside down for long, you wouldn't be upside down very long.
Well, there you go. And I used to hear people talking about the things out at Disney World, like the Ninja ride. And
but I have this thing where I hate heights, but I love the feeling of free fall. Like I love the weightless feeling and I love the speed. But I hate being high up.
So what you're trying to say is you may actually do a skydiving thing one day.
No.
Just checking.
When I'll skydive? I'll skydive when my plane's crash landing.
At least you have the set of circumstances defined under which you will do that.
I'll skydive when I have to.
As Bruce Lee would say, so there is a point beyond which you will not go, Mr. Ropa. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. I did the Air Force for 20 years. I had no desire to jump out of an airplane either. So.
Did you ever do it anyway?
No. No.
They didn't. It's not one of the things that
the roof on a low house was about the extent of my skydiving. But I'm young yet. I'm only 67. I got time.
Yeah. George H.W. Bush did it every year on his birthday up until he was about 91, 92. Yeah.
Well, there was a woman recently who did that for her 100th birthday. Skydiving for her 100th birthday, and I'm like, God bless you. I don't see that happening, but you never know.
Well, I mean, you imagine being the instructor you're tied to. Your goal is to you get a 100-year-old woman. You have to not break any bones, and you got to keep her alive.
Yep.
No pressure.
None whatsoever. But yeah, that probably won't be me. But you never know. Hey, if I hang around enough of those motivating people who are making you feel empowered, I may get there.
So note, gift certificate for skydiving for Kelvin's 100th birthday. Okay.
Yeah, I'll look for that. Yeah. I'll look for that. Well, at least we've set the intention for me to be here for my 100th birthday.
Yes, sir. Well, I thought we were going to 156.
156, that's true. So
you'll have a lot of years to remember it too.
That would even be better, wouldn't it? Yes. You remember what? Because I'm not doing it again. But I don't know. I hear really from the people who have done the skydiving thing that it's a really invigorating, and not really all that scary once you actually get it out of the plane. Because I suspect once you actually go through the door to start.
Well, it's one of the things that you can't take back, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're kind of busy right then.
Well, once you're out, you're out. I mean,
you're out. There is no going back. May as well enjoy the ride for whatever that's worth.
A lot of times when I ask how you're doing, one of the things you say is there's nothing wrong that isn't my fault.
Nothing wrong in my life that's not my fault. Yep.
Right. So, yeah, almost all those things that could possibly go wrong that are your fault are undoable or at least repairable.
Most of them, yes. So
yeah, I mean, if you burn your house down, you gotta, that
get some insurance, rebuild. Yeah,
yeah. It's a little bit of a harder path. If you burn dinner, you can always get a pizza. If you buy something you shouldn't have bought, you can probably return it or resell it.
Most likely, yep.
Just about everything is. But once you're out that plane, there's no going back in.
No do-overs. Well, I mean, there is a do-over if you do it. Yeah, but you can't back up.
Right, exactly. Like once you're out, you're out. You can't be like, oh, this was a bad idea. You have to see it through.
Yes.
You go, wait a second. Come back.
Oh yeah, plane's gone. So we're gonna probably have to do a couple of Tony Robbins full experience shows, whatever their experiences to get there. Plus, walking on the hot coals is is probably closer to my speed. But jumping out of the airplane, I don't know. But you never know. Hey,
you know what?
starts here, don't it?
We could do a
Starts
hot cold thing. We could do a hot coals thing here.
Oh, could you?
I'm willing to set that up for you.
You can do that for me?
Make some wings, and then we'll scoop out the coals and
You know, it has never ceased to amaze me, Mr. Shearer, the kind of friend you really are.
Yeah, I understand how that works, the hot coals thing, and I understand that it's getting harder for people to do because everybody wants to you get a good shot for Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
And
you can't just be sitting there waiting.
Right. And it really counts on you keeping moving.
Uh-huh.
Right. Because if coals were good for cooking things like feet, we wouldn't put metal grates on top of our grills.
Yeah, that too.
But you leave the meat on the coals long enough, it'll cook. And you know what? We're just made out of meat.
That's
all we are.
Yep. So, that one's closer to my bucket list than jumping out of a plane. But hey,
like I said, we can make that happen next time you come.
Yeah. The other thing that I don't see myself doing is skiing downhill.
I've done that. I had a stopping problem.
Yeah, something about screeching it on ice. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm good ice skating,
all right.
But skiing wasn't good for me.
No, yeah,
I did it a few times.
I didn't think so. I went roller skating once. We'll tell you about that dizzy story another day. But I don't know. It was probably easier to stop than being on skis going downhill on ice. But no, but it was a little traumatic. But that's a whole other. I was much younger then. That's it.
Yeah, I used to roller skate with my friends a lot. I actually cracked my head open roller skating.
Oh,
but
are you glad you survived that?
Yeah.
Well, if you did that, then you're definitely ready for the airplane thing.
Well, it's amazing how much a head bleeds.
I beg your pardon?
It's amazing how much a head bleeds.
Oh,
noses do this too.
Yeah, true.
If you've ever busted a nose,
yeah,
it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. But yeah, I had what amounted to about a 1/4 inch long cut on my head, and they had to shut the snack bar down because there was blood everywhere.
Oh my gosh!
What happened was I caught my stopper. There was like floor dividers that have screws in them.
Right.
One of the screws had come up a little bit, and I caught a stopper on it, and I fell, and there was a concrete wall behind me, and I hit the corner of the wall, like right here on my head. So I got this little like 1/8 inch scar back there. This is back like 7th or 8th grade, so I was like 12 or 13, and it just bled and bled and bled. They thought, the people at the rink, you have no concept of this when you're 12, but they're like 17. Those are kids.
Yeah,
those are kids, and there's blood everywhere. And there's a school field trip.
Oh.
And it turns out it was fine. Went to the doctor, stitched it up, no concussion or anything. Just probably no concussion. What's that?
Concussions suck a lot, yeah.
But hey, maybe it was a concussion, and that's how I got to be me.
Well.
Maybe I wasn't this awesome before that.
Let's do some research.
Maybe I wasn't the kind of friend who would create a hot coal walk for you before.
Let's do some research and find out who the pre skating Josh really was, and see how that goes. But that's all right. So yeah, I guess we covered those qualities pretty good. You got anything else?
I don't know. I thought that maybe once we got talking, we'd catch on, but I think we started heading off in a different direction. This wound up being a good conversation anyway.
Well, we tend to do that.
Yeah, those tend to be my big ones. That I aspire to are being able to keep people amused somewhat, and being I enjoy understanding a lot of different things.
Yep.
And yeah, I think what's one of the things that's interesting is that about the particular qualities that we picked out.
Mm-hmm.
I guess being funny is something that other people have to see in you, but being something like a polymath, enjoying understanding a lot of different things, is something that's intrinsic to a person. Being a good speaker and being somebody who's uplifting are things that somebody who's uplifting to others are things that necessarily involve other people.
Yes.
And so the qualities you picked out are things that you want to be seen as, or, that involve other people. Whereas the things that I picked out are largely internal. So, like no judgment either way there. I just, it's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
That, when we're picking out the characteristics that we want to, that are appealing to us, that those are two entirely different approaches.
I'm definitely a people person. I am. I have some of the other ones. I mean, I used to play piano. I was a drummer in the school band, and I've done some other stuff like that. I started wanting to be a computer programmer, but eventually, and of course I'm a photographer, but that involves other people too.
Yep. It doesn't have to, right?
But it doesn't.
You happen to be a portrait photographer, but
yep.
There are plenty of people who take pictures of landscapes and animals and stuff.
I've never been good at that. I'm definitely a people guy as far as photography is concerned. So I suppose I could have learned it, but I didn't really have people's more my thing. Yeah. So yeah, me and people, I don't know, might have had something to do with my dad being a minister. I don't know. He just put me in front of people all the time. Started out that way. I think he tried to marry me off when I was 5 once. Just had to bring my son with me. He wanted to meet his new mother-in-law. We can have a discussion about this. That kind of thing. But yeah. So we're having fun. So I do that, and we do that on the podcast. One of the reasons I like podcasting with you. So to meet interesting people and talk to interesting people and share them with interesting people. And I guess all in all, it's just a good team we make here. You probably cook better than you do.
I probably cook different than you do.
That too. But neither one of us wants deep fried, chocolate fried bacon. So.
Deep fried chocolate covered bacon. Yeah, no, hard pass.
No, we're good. So something we can agree on.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Kelvin, thank you for being here. Listeners, thank you for being here. jkwdpodcast.com/books. Support the podcast and get something good to read. VitaminKDaily.com. Get yourself 4 weeks free, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Show notes and more at jkwdpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends, and we will see you next week. Bye. A Better Humanhood production.